Greetings again, adventurers, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy. In the last episode, we sailed all the way from Alfheim here to the lovely town of Melmond, where all is not right with the land. Because the vampire who resides in the Earth Cave has laid a curse upon Melmond, and the very soil itself is rotting, as you can see, or turned to sparse desert in this instance. To add insult to injury, the vampire also destroyed the clinic here in Melmond, which means we cannot revive our party members here while we're in town. Which means that in order to revive our party members at a clinic, we would have to use the ones back at Cornelia, Provoker, or Alfheim. But not all is lost, because we've been doing a copious amount of questing in between episodes, and we're all now at a comfortable level 14, which should mean that we are a fair enough match for the denizens of the Earth Cave, and the vampire in general. Now, I should mention that I went back and acquired a level 4 fast spell for myself to use alongside Ysir, so that Theo and myself can actually both deal incredible amounts of melee damage, which will be incredibly useful. Now as for Adin, I decided to get a pure spell, which means we'll be saving a little bit on pure potions, because it always helps to actually have some means of curing poison. Now as for level 5 spells, I've chosen to acquire 3 of them, the life spell and the cure spell, which are both very important. Life being our only other means of reviving party members who will return with 1 health. So essentially the White Mage is acting as a mobile clinic in this instance. And though I myself cannot currently use level 5 spells at the moment due to our level, I will inevitably be able to use Life and Cure 3 as well. Now Cure 3 is the most potent cure spell in the entirety of Final Fantasy, and is incredibly useful. It does cure only 1 party member though, but it more than makes up for it in terms of healing. Now speaking of healing, I decided to forego the Heal 2 spell in exchange for the Harm 3 spell, because after all we are going up against a vampire, and a vampire is an undead creature, and I want all the undead harming spells that at our fingertips as much as possible. And we've got plenty of charges for our level 3 spells, so that should be very useful indeed. And
finally, for Ysir, I've decided to acquire the level 5 spell known as Bane, which, when used properly, unleashes a wave of toxic vapors which instantly kill any enemy that attacks it, as well as the most powerful fire spell in all of Final Fantasy. I have acquired Fire 3. After all, the fire rises.
Okay, lackluster Tom Hardy impersonations aside, I decided to forego the Warp spell for Bane, because even though Bane doesn't hit enemies all the time, when it works well. It is instant death for any enemy that actually gets hit by the poison vapors, which is incredible. And of course the Fire 3 spell, because I wanted Ysir to be the most powerful fire mage in all the land. Now I did decide to forego acquiring Warp, and also due to the fact that I've learned that Ysir can only learn 2 level 5 spells at this point in time, and he possibly can't learn the 3rd. unless he manages to gain a few levels along the way. But warp isn't really that useful anyway. It does have the uncanny ability to teleport you back to the previous floor of any dungeon that you're in. But there is actually a white magic spell known as Exit at some point, which actually has the ability to teleport you back to the entrance of any dungeon, which makes it infinitely more useful than warp anyway. So I decided to get Bane and Fire 3. And I believe that is it now for the state of our party. And now the time has finally come to actually venture forth to the Earth Cave in earnest. And the way will be perilous because we'll be fighting our way through a lot of familiar enemies as we travel to the Earth Cave, which is currently which is of course to the southwest of the area of Melmond. So let us go hunt down a vampire, shall we? Away we go through this marshy land. Just fought a bunch of shadows there, and it's a good thing that the darkness ailment does not work in the slightest. At least in this instance. Past the marsh and down here. And we just got ambushed by a trio of saber-toothed tigers. That's a pretty nasty three-pronged attack there, if I do say so myself. Because those saber-toothed tigers have really, really sharp teeth indeed. But fortunately, we can pretty much hold our own against them. I want to avoid using any kind of spell ability right now because I want to save everything for the Earth Cave as much as possible. But I will show you the encounter with the tigers. We're, as I've said before, at level 14 we are pretty much no slouches when it comes to fighting hand-to-hand combat now, and Adin and Ysir can actually deal some decent physical damage as well. And they can even get a critical from time to time. Now that netted us 328 experience and 324 gil. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. Fighting 3 tigers should pretty much be a warm-up for the ordeals of the Earth Cave. And there it is, just cross through this marsh here, and avoiding some more shadows along the way. And welcome, adventurers, to the Earth Cave, the first true dungeon of Final Fantasy. Now I know that the Marsh Cave is still fairly much a dungeon, but this is the first proper dungeon of the adventure, and this iconic music is an indicator of such. Very iconic, isn't it? And I'm getting a certain sense of nostalgia myself from listening to it. Now, a bit of a beginner's trap here when entering the Earth Cave for the first time, adventurers, because one's first instinct is to go this way. That is not what any burgeoning adventurer would want to do, and I will show you why if we manage to avoid getting attacked by enemies as we make our way here. Because this particular corridor here is, as I said before, an incredibly notorious beginner's trap, which I will now demonstrate. Of course, for those of you who followed me 9 years ago and watched my Dawn of Souls LP, which is still available in the annuals of my Citadel, you can learn the answer to that question there, but I shall demonstrate the answer firsthand. And there it is, that big, not quite so jolly green giant over there, and his 2 pet iguanas. That is because the corridor that I've been talking about, the corridor that we've just ventured into, is known rather ominously as the Hall of Giants, in which giants from all corners of the earth gather at a banquet here in the gather in the Earth Cave and celebrate. As to why they're holding a banquet in the hallway of the Earth Cave, I don't know, but every step that you take in the Hall of Giants will land you an encounter with either a group of giants and or iguanas. Now there is only one giant here, and I'm not going to actually fight it at this point, although that aside, if you're feeling brave, like I've been, you will actually use the Hall of Giants as a means of actually gaining some extra levels. I kind of did that off screen. Although I wouldn't recommend it unless you're incredibly patient like I am, because fighting giants every step of the way is incredibly tedious and time consuming, but then again, since when is grinding not time consuming in an RPG? Right now, we want to leave the Hall of Giants because we weren't invited. Now if we were to take a step up or further left, we would fight more giants. If we were to take a step anywhere in that left-hand hallway, around that corner, we would fight more giants. We don't want to do that. At least cobras don't poison you, unlike asps, which are very annoying. We want to return to the stairs. Now, I believe the way to the next level of the Earth Cave is to the east, but we want to travel northward first, because there is a chamber to the north, as well as 2 more chambers to the south. We want to go around this way, hopefully not run into some more enemies, but there is a treasure chest over here. And some more annoying cobras along the way, but there are certain areas in each of the rooms that are guarded, much in the same vein as the Hall of Giants. And if you were to step into the guarded areas, you would ultimately have to fight those enemies that lurk within. Now, I shall show you the encounter with one particular enemy, although I will try to avoid any such encounters in the immediate future. So here it goes. Here we fight the Earth Elemental, fitting since this is in fact the Earth Cave, and it is probably something that has been summoned by the notorious vampire. Now, Earth Elementals are incredibly powerful in the strength department, but then again, so are we. And that Earth Elemental can actually deal out some serious damage to our mages, and even a potent attack from Theo is actually not enough to finish it off right off the bat. Luckily, our party is fairly well equipped for battle, and that is it for the Earth Elemental. 384 experience and a nice 768 gil. And our reward for this trouble? 1,975 gil, or the year 1975. I believe that is it for this particular chamber, so time to head back to the stairs and head southwards. Listen to this wonderful dungeon music along the way. Hopefully, well, we know we'll be running into some more enemies sooner rather than later. And I really, really do not like arachnids, because they can poison. Now, yeah, I will, have Theo, well, Adam cure Theo and Ysir here this time, and rearrange our party configuration there, just to be on the safe side. There we go. And before we head east, we don't want to head that way, we also don't want to head left, because that takes us back into the Hall of Giants. We want to go this way, down here, to a branching path, some pesky gargoyles that we desperately do not want to fight. And I think we got away from those enemies relatively easily enough. And in this chest we found 795 gil. We want to go this way, or not, because there is another earth elemental. And here I was saying I would avoid these encounters, but I guess not. Yeah, these encounters only appear in certain points, and as I said before, it is actually easy to avoid them. So the Earth Elemental is a fairly notorious enemy, to be sure. But then again, the experience and gil is worth it. And we found a pure potion. I believe it's time for some healing from Adam here. Save a few of my heal potions just in case. And actually I think I might use some on Theo here. And playing loot in the Earth Cave just because I can. And I believe that should be everything for this chamber. There is one further down, which I'll definitely be heading to, and getting the items inside. And that is also another dead end. As much as I would like to fight a bunch of ogres right now, I haven't the time. I have a vampire to slay. I have to be careful in here because I do not want to fight more enemies. I'm probably going to fight an enemy. That was a bull, I believe, or a minotaur. Not a fixed enemy, but well, and 880 gil. I want to go around here and avoid whatever is guarding that chest, because there is something guarding that chest, and there is a heal potion. Now, time to actually venture back to the stairs, and finally make our way down to the second level of the Earth Cave. Being wary of every corner. And more annoying asps. At least we managed to get away from them. Now we want to head in this direction to reach the stairs to the next level. Which are down this way. There they are. On to level 2. And we have some more bats that go kee-kee. And they just screech and fly around, and that is it. Now, there's a bit of a maze here, and I want to try and go to the middle as quickly as possible. Don't go to the right, because I think that leads to a dead end. I think we're in the right place now. We want to go right here, because there is a room up there that we avoiding some wolves along the way. Now this room could be perilous. $330 gil. Thank you very much. apparently I can't go this way. And this bat is in my way. Here is a cabin. And more importantly, Coral Sword, which is going to be fairly useful for me, because it is a, well, it's actually a step up from the Rune Sword. It's about as powerful as, I believe it's as powerful as the Dragon Sword. It will do a little bit of extra damage, which means I can sell the Rune Blade. I want to try and go down to the lower left-hand corner now. Hopefully not get lost along the way. I believe the only way down is through this way, and that bat is blocking my path forward. And the bat has moved out of the way. Thank you very much. But there is an earth elemental guarding this door over here, which is very unfortunate, and that earth elemental just dealt me a lot of damage. I could potentially die from this. Definitely going to need some cure magic from Adam there, and gonna have to bite the bullet on that one. Time for a cure 3. Unless we can, oh no, unless we can just, finish it off right, then and there, which is, fairly useful. Use some heal potions, because unfortunately we can't camp in a dungeon crawling with monsters, which probably actually makes sense now that I say that out loud. Heal up Adam as well. Now we will be fighting an earth elemental as soon as we try to leave the chamber, so and we can't go into the wall. 575 gil in this chest. A wooden shield, absolutely useless. But more importantly, 5,000 gil. Right here and now, which means that we have almost 25,000. That's quite a lot. Now, I'm going to have to fight this Earth Elemental again in order to leave, and I will see you all outside of this room. Well, that was certainly quite the ordeal. This is time to head off. As soon as we make our way out of here. Thank you, Mr. Bat. And yep, some more ogres along the way. And now kind of all turned around now, so just going to have a check of the trusty map, just to orient my surroundings. One moment, adventurers. Sorry about that, adventurers. I was heading the right way. Just down here. Just where I want to be. And that bat is guarding the way. Let me leave, bat. Please move. Thank you. You are a rather dastardly bat. And now we are here on the 3rd floor of the Earth Cavern. this is, yeah, this is definitely going to be a interesting encounter, because according to my map, there is a corridor just above where we are. We can't see it, but it is on the map, and of course you, the audience, can see, because there is a wall here. But I believe the foe that we are searching for, the vampire, lies in that very chamber, on this level of the Earth Cave. So when we return, adventurers, we shall try and seek out how to get to that particular chamber, deal with the vampire as we see fit, and hopefully restore the land of Melmond to its former glory. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.